The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Collective TV. I'm your host and moderator. I'm Farron, a.k.a. WDC. I want to thank you for tuning in, listening today. As always, we have a very spectacular show for you right here on Sports Collective TV on MorrisMediaLive.com. Make sure you check us out. Google our social media, Sports Collective Media. You'll find all the posts coming up for the day. So if you've been watching, you've seen that we got an LABC segment. We got the More Than X's and O's segment. We got Cali Sportsmen in the building, the Alert segment. So stay tuned for all that coming up, and I'm going to let the deck introduce themselves.
Definitely, and we just came off of a great event for the Sports Collective TV, the OVN Classic, happening at Staples Center last Monday. That was a great event. Just want to give a thanks to the Sparks and everybody who was involved in that.
Sure.
That was a great thing to do, and my name is Al. You can follow me on Al Pasquale on Facebook, and no interruption so far. Damn, I appreciate that.
Right. So far, so good. So I am Double O, bringing more than the X's and O's. And like Big Al here was saying, we just came off a big event at Staples. It went really well. We actually have two of the players here from the championship team. We'll bring them on our segment later on today. And aside from that, I'm going to pass it to the Cali Sportsman.
I'm going to give it right back to you guys. What was the event? For the folks that don't know what the event was, what was the event? Let's talk about the event.
Okay, so
who were the people at the event? What was the event all about? Let's go.
Well, over the last couple of weeks, we were talking about that, but just to review it real quick, it was a basketball tournament that started off at Truco's Justice Center right down the street, and also at the VOA Center off of Main. And so we had open scrimmages for about a month, which led to a group tournament that for 2 days. And from that, teams eliminated themselves, where 4 teams got to play at the Staples Center. Oh. And so we had 3 games, 2 semifinals and a final, which ended up with Young in LA from West Angeles winning it all. And we'll bring them on later on today.
And you put that together too. Don't.
Oh yeah, promise to go over here for organizing that.
Well, I mean, yeah, it wasn't just me. I mean, there was other organizations, but it took a lot of hard work. And like I've told everyone else, it's a growing process. This is our 3rd year doing this with the organizations, with the reentry population, and we just wanted to continue to grow from here on out.
Because there is an issue in regards to the whole reform and being able, because we had Dwayne Dickerson on, and in regards to understanding their need assessment, and you guys are giving a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound to be able to kind of help these guys out, which consists of what?
And speaking of Dwayne Dixon real quick, shout out to him as well for making sure that we had halftime entertainments for all the games. We had a drum circle going on. We had MCs.
Right.
Rare breed.
Right, Rare breed, yes.
I told you, Rare. Come on.
Shout out to that. They made sure that the crowd was entertained. They gave some great performances.
Drummers with attitude really killed it.
Definitely.
Yes, they had the attitude for sure.
More footage about that coming soon, so be tuned for that.
But like you were saying about the reentry population, it is just a Band-Aid on a big wound about a lot of our community members coming back into the community, not having the resources to integrate themselves. So just really having an opportunity for them to take their mind off that pressure of having to reintegrate into our society, being able to take them out to Staples Center, have a night out with the youth, hopefully that does great things moving on forward with them getting back on their feet. So
what have you noticed when you say reintegrate? Like, what have you noticed has been some of the challenges as far as getting a job or housing, education? Like, what do you see that?
Well, from working from our space, at the end of the day, I always tell myself you had to hold your head up in order before you could stand firm on your feet. Mm-hmm. So you could provide people with the resources, spaces, but if they don't believe in themselves, being able to integrate themselves back, and that's one of the things that we held a value within our program, is letting them know that their stories are impactful with youth. We had some of the liberated lifers share their stories of how they went from being incarcerated, right, and now they're, like you said, they're free and they're trying to go back into our community and make a big impact. And so right off the bat, letting them know that their story holds value.
Yeah.
Right? Just the fact that they went through the whole prison industrial complex, came out of it alive, is already a success story of its own. And taking that and really sharing that with our youth before they fall under the same roads is something that we're trying to prevent.
And a lot of people don't understand how important their stories are.
Right.
That you are actually sharing information, sharing your stories that can help somebody who's either about to go down that road and deter them from that,
right.
or maybe somebody who's been dealing with that and think they're the only person, like nobody knows what I'm dealing with. But there's a lot of us that can either have our own version of that,
right.
or can relate to exactly and either relate or understand what you're dealing with. So that's how I really got into radio, because sharing people's stories, sharing my story, help educating and you know, you can change lives just by your story. You don't have to be no superstar or no famous person to do that. You can just be a person.
I'm in the wrong lane. I thought I was a superstar.
Yeah. You can just be, and that's the human connection that we really push for. That helps that reintegration back,
right?
That acceptance. But like you said, if you don't accept yourself first,
right,
then
and believing in yourself that you're able to come in and really prevent yourself from going back.
I just wanted to ask you real quick. We talked about this off the mic as well. Why do you think that sports, and particularly basketball, is a great medium for programs like this?
He plays soccer, though. He probably ask me that question.
The Pele.
In general, any sport, just the skills that it teaches, like when at a young age, team building, really identifying yourself within a team. Also, like you said, skill sets, communication,
right?
Being able to
trust,
and the whole accountability part that Cali sportsmen like to talk about.
Right.
That's very big in basketball, and you can translate that into life. You know,
and really
accountability. You got a foul, accountability. You got 3 fouls, accountability.
Right.
You got 20 points, accountability.
You don't show up to practice, accountability. Yeah, exactly.
You don't stick up for your teammates,
accountability. Right.
There you go.
Cool.
Missed that one on the outside line.
You stepped out.
You know you didn't supposed to be over there anyway. So you know, accountability. But this was make this show really, really unique and special as a sports-oriented type of show. It's all about the community. Yeah. It's all about bringing people on that you would normally see on any other network, you know, and to be able to have that offset of our mobile app and to be able to go, you know, I think it's bigger than big, you know, for us.
He likes that play-by-play.
Well, just the fact that I always said, look, what was that, Tuesday? When was that?
Tuesday.
You could have threw a rock to ESPN.
Yeah.
And you were doing your mini ESPN in the Staples Center. That's like a come on, guys.
Yeah.
That's potential growth, you know.
Absolutely.
And then being able to bring these guys on and kind of tell their story, and then be able to take that and archive it to where it lives forever. It's an immortal situation, you know. So I'm proud of you guys. And I didn't get on the picture, but I'm proud of you.
We'll Photoshop you in the background.
I make sure I comb
with
my
the
afro
sunglasses and everything.
All right, so we're going to keep it moving. We got the first segment coming up. We got more X's and O's after this break right here. Again, Sports Collective TV. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, at IMWDC, and make sure you hit us up on the Sports Collective Media on Instagram. Shout out. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold, man.
I hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasm, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn, are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man.
There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
All right, welcome back to Sports Collective TV. I am Double O, bringing more than the X's and O's. And today I actually have our championship team, or some of the players from the championship team, representing West Angeles, Young in LA. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves before we get on to the interview. To my left.
I'm Marquise Thomas.
I'm Darnell Seymour.
All right, so first of all, gentlemen, how is the OVN Classic for you? How was it like playing at Staples?
I mean, it was pretty good playing at Staples Center. It was my first time. I never had that experience playing on the Lakers floor, the floor that Kobe Bryant played on, so I was really excited to play.
Okay, how about you?
Yeah, I didn't get to play, but because I hurt my leg, but I played the 2 games before that, but I was just there supporting, honestly.
Right, and I was there. So I was there the 2 games you were talking about, right? And you had a huge impact in helping your team get to that. Because like I was saying before, that it wasn't just anyone got into the tournament. Before, we had open scrimmages where organizations eliminate themselves and the top 4 got in. So I noticed that leading up to the actual game, it was hard for y'all to get there. Y'all want to talk more about that? Just getting to Staples? What was that like?
Yeah, it was pretty hard getting to Staples Center because I was actually at work that day, and my mentor had called me. I really didn't. I thought we was gonna play on Thursday. I didn't think we was gonna play on Tuesday. So it was a little hassle. He got us there. I was grateful for him to getting us there. We got there like 20 minutes late, but it was cool. I was still excited to play, as long as I got to shine on the court with my team.
Right. And you rode with them too, right?
What you talking about?
Like getting to Staples, you know how you guys got there a little late?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we lost the first game, pretty much. Like, we should have won that. We lost by 1 point. But the second game, that game was pretty easy for us. We took them. So.
All right. Well, thank you for that. And what about you? What was your take on those games?
It was pretty cool. The first game, it was it was like a little warm-up game, so we had to see who we was playing against or whatever. But the second game, we just had to get it together, just basically do a run where we was running before, and it was cool.
So, like we were talking about before, part of this tournament was also bringing in the re-entry population. So, how was that like when you got to play with some of the liberated lifers? Because I know when I brought up the fact that we were playing people that were just were coming back from being incarcerated, I know some people took it like, well, we're gonna play prisoners.
It was a little kind of like I was thinking about we was gonna play like people who just got out of prison, but it wasn't nothing like that. It was actually a cool little game. My intentions, I thought it was like people was gonna be like crazy, if they get a foul or something. It was nothing like that. It was like basically everybody just coming together and just balling, showing love for what they really love to play for.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I think it was actually the young people that responded more aggressively, at least verbally, because I know some of the liberated lifers told me that they weren't going to try to get into any altercation with young people. They were not trying to get anything that would get them back into prison. Because a lot of them were on house arrest, right? You remember when they came to Chuco's, how pretty much the whole team had ankle braces, which I found like incredible. The fact that we were able to get a whole team of liberated lifers to come out and play. The fact that they could only be limited to just being in their space, being able to come out and play basketball and take them to the Staples Center was also really good. So what are you guys gonna do next year? Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna continue balling for with my teammates and stuff. I'm hopefully we can make it to the next one and win it again like we did this year.
So what happened at the end? What happened at the end? There was a little scrimmage, a little squabble, almost a squabble. We were able to stop it.
No, it was basically because my teammates, he got fouled because the person who fouled my teammates, he was actually getting done up. He was getting mad that his team was losing. So, he fouled my teammate, and my teammate, he's the type of person who ain't backing down from nothing. So, they did what they did, but, good thing nobody, started fighting. My teammate, he got it together, told him I had to, coach him into, don't do that. But it was pretty good. We all got it together as a team. He got it together mentally, and we ended up winning.
And that's something we actually prepared for. We expected, as things got more competitive, that, emotions were going to build up. And that's one of the things that we did notice. I think some of our broadcasters called it out, that a lot of the foul plays weren't being called, that the referees were letting, people just play through. But once again, if you're not getting that call, you start getting frustrated and you start directing your anger at the players instead of the refs. And so, but I was glad that we responded in a good way. It didn't get to the point where people actually exchanged fists. And things happen. In the NBA, people start to build up emotions. What was it in the NBA Finals? You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Was it Tristan Thompson?
It was Tristan and Draymond?
Yeah, Draymond. So it happens. It's normal. It's just about not letting it escalate too much where people start getting hurt. Right?
I think Draymond, he would have gave it to Tristan, though.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, Tristan didn't want that.
Oh, okay. Why you say that?
Draymond, he's a warrior. It all makes sense. He's like the Warriors mascot.
His mascot?
He ready for stuff like that.
Where'd he grow up? Michigan, right?
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and after that, we're going to come back with some more of our studio broadcasters to ask some more questions. We'll be right back in a second.
Giving up. Chapter 1. Winners never quit.
Hey, I'm Sergeant First Class Ferran Dozier. I'm here at the military base, and I have the sickle cell trait. Now, why I got involved is I experienced what they call sickle cell trait exertion. And I was doing the Army physical fitness test, the 2-mile run, and when I got done, I collapsed. A lot of soldiers and athletes have been dying at football fields and running track, and the family members have no idea that they have the sickle cell trait gene or that it's a trigger. So my purpose is to mobilize the community so we can find out what's in your genes. How will life be if we could prevent another child from being born with sickle cell trait or disease? And if a child was born with the trait or disease, that the family members would have the education, awareness, and resources in every city that they lived in. So tune into our webinar series and find out what's the count.
What's the count? What's the count? What's the count?
All right, so welcome back to Sports Collective TV. I am Double O, bringing you more than the X's and O's. So we already talked about the OVN Classic and Young in LA winning it, but let us get more deeper as to what is Young in LA and what are the stories of some of these players. Big Al, you want to take us there?
Yeah, definitely. I just first of all want to ask your guys' story and what was your guys' first connection to basketball? Like, what brought you to basketball, and what is basketball to you guys?
Well, basketball to me is, I was always young playing basketball. I was always the skinny, weak one, but I just worked my way up, grinding. Now I'm just a good defender.
Okay. And basketball has a huge mental aspect of it, so would you say that defensive mentality, that would help you off the court as well with things?
Yeah, I'm defensive a lot. I be fighting a lot. But other than that, I keep cool until someone bother me, pretty much.
What about you? What is basketball to you? Like, what do you feel like that brings out in you as a person?
Basketball to me is basically coming together all as one, coming together as a family. Some people don't even have trust issues to come together, so basically it's all a mental thing, how you look at it. And I look at it as like, I've been playing basketball since I was like a little boy, my brothers. So I love basketball. If it wasn't for basketball, I don't even know where I'll be today. And basketball did a lot for me.
And that's an amazing thing. That's why we feel so strongly about the sport and why we host events like this. But
so tell us more about your past. How did you come to Young in LA? I know they do a lot of good stuff with young people.
Yeah, so I grew up in South Central, 106 in Vermont over there. I went to Woodcrest Elementary School, graduated from there in the 5th grade, went to Henry Clay. And then I graduated from Henry Clay and went to Washington. I started playing basketball 9th grade in Washington High School. for the team. The team was pretty weak, so I transferred, went to Dorsey, started playing at Dorsey. You know, ever since then, just been balling. If it wasn't for that, I think I don't know where I'd be. I'll go to basketball. I was just balling from all day. Just go up there and start balling because I don't like being at home like that. And I grew up in a bad neighborhood.
Right.
So I just started going to the gym just to ball all day, just to not be in the neighborhood.
And when you mean all day, you're talking about until they don't let you ball no more?
Something like my granny called me, like, come home.
Where you at? Yeah. Your dinner's getting cold.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody at a young age in a similar situation to yourself, thinking about starting to play sports, particularly basketball?
I mean, go for it. It's good, man. For people who ain't got people from my generation, basically, they ain't really doing nothing with themselves. They just sitting in the house. Y'all should do something. Go play basketball. You feel me?
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you? A little bit about your story. You know, you told us how you were the skinny kid growing up playing basketball. But what else about you, Darnell? What else can you share?
I was homeless at a young age. You know, I know what struggling feels like. So I went into high school. I went to Crenshaw. I played basketball in 9th and 10th. But I was on frost-off because I was still, you know, working my way up. But, you know,
I know it could be hard sometimes. No, it's all good, you know. Going back into our past sometimes could be, you know, even me sometimes going back and talking about it could be emotional. But let's see. What about Young in LA? I know Tracy and I is a great mentor for y'all. What can y'all say about the program and what they do with young people?
The program is a youth development program. It's a good program. You know, it take kids off the streets, you know, if they just want to smoke after school and just sit around. They feed you, you know, like the first day you come and sign up. We have a good mentor. He always come through for us when we call him.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit more about that? What does he bring to the table, kind of? What is he for you?
I mean, he brings a lot to the table. He brings some housing. He lets you. I mean, he was staying at this mansion. He was letting us live there for people who ain't had homes. You feel me? He actually hooked me and Darnell up with a job. He actually working right now for LAUSD beyond the bill. So I mean, he's a good guy, Tracy. You know, shout out to the Young in LA. I mess with Young in LA.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
All right, then. Well, y'all heard it here. You know, it's not just about basketball. It's really about reaching out to your community and doing that extra. Sometimes opening your house to people, you know, sharing your resources, giving that time and that energy to youth that want that, you know, and then don't have those positive figures in their lives. So going out there and seeking that. Anything else you guys want to shout out before you go? Any shout outs to family members, friends, you know?
Nah, no.
Yeah, you sure? I know you want to. Look at that smile.
Yeah. I made music, future rapper, me and my brothers. And
how can we find y'all? I know y'all got social media.
Follow me on Insta, Babyface Keys, Babyface_Keys. You feel me?
All right. What about you?
My Instagram?
Yeah.
DMore18.
All right, then.
Yeah, that's it.
DMore18. All right, so y'all heard it here. We'll be right back with, what is it called? Chasing Dreams.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold, man.
I hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Yeah. Exhaustion, muscle spasm, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that if both parents have sickle cell trait, there's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease?
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man.
There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
So he say he got a little gray, but he ain't quite there yet. We back here at Morris Media Studios with Sports Collective Media. Give us a call, 323-293-3375, and give us a shout out. But I want to introduce somebody because this segment really kind of sets on my heart because it's about chasing the hoop dream. And we have some young fellas today that they probably going to be chasing some hoop dreams for a very, very long time because they have a passion for the sport or they have passion for sports. And so with that being said, introduce yourself, man.
Yeah, my name is Seth Thomas, Coach Seth. I'm playing at the LABC League right now.
So, when he first walked in the studio, he was like, man, and I got the blah, blah, blah. So where that at? Bring that back. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it's here, man. It's here.
That's because you see yourself on the big camera. It's only 1 million folks watching. You know what I'm saying? Don't get bashful over me. Don't get bashful.
Yeah, let's go.
But the thing is, Chasing Hoop Dreams was really kind of originated from my son who got injured in high school and then continued to just persevere and say, look, and he was a 4.6 GPA, and he ended up going to Columbia. He went to like 5 different colleges, chasing the dream. And then so after that, we've had a lot of different players come on and kind of talk about their story in regards to the dream. So what I want you to do is to go back prior to the prior, like you picked up the ball. How old were you?
I picked up the ball in '86. I was 5.5. At Rancho.
I didn't say how tall you was.
I was 5. In 1986, I picked up the ball at 5.5 years old.
So then what happened?
I just stayed hooping until I was about 12, 13, and fell off right then and there living in L.A., making some decisions.
Then the story. What's the story? Give us what happened, how it go down. You want to lay your head.
Okay, I was going to Marina Del Rey, middle school. I was recruited 9th grade to go play for Palisades. I get jumped twice in the semester, and I was a special ed student.
Did they jump over you?
No, they couldn't jump over me. They jumped me. You know what I'm saying? I was going to Marina Del Rey, and I was a special ed student. I had mental health issues. I already was in a special ed class. So I had a lot of self-esteem issues. Mm-hmm. So my mother took me out of that because I was in special ed since I was in the 3rd grade. Anyways, since I was playing ball. So I went through that. My mom was like, nah, you can't play ball. You can't do this. You got to just focus on school because I barely can sit in the classroom. So
that's what they call ADHD.
Yeah, now? ADHD. I consider myself the poster child for ADHD. I was on Ritalin. I was on Cylert. I was on Dexedrine. I was on whatever they try to do to keep me still in the classroom. I did it. But it didn't work. I still decided to make bad decisions when I got kicked out the LA Unified School District. My mom put me in this non-public special ed school.
Okay, stop. You got kicked out. What was the reason you got kicked out?
For all the fighting and hanging out, trying to be a gang member, doing all that stuff, got me kicked out of LA Unified School District.
Okay, so we move up, we get further along. But we now in high school?
Yeah, I'm in. That was middle school. In the middle school, going into high school.
So what happened in high school?
I'm in a non-public school. Ain't no basketball. It's nothing but gang banging and being stupid. But what I was doing still on the side, I used to go up to this park called Toberman. And there was a lot of legendary NBA cats and dudes that grew up out here playing ball.
Do your name dropping?
So, okay, I'll name drop. I name a name. I mean, Freeman Williams, Big John Williams, Larry Spriggs, Hayes Pillard, Godfather. It was a lot of legend guys. Larry Spriggs, John Williams came out of Crenshaw High. These is dudes that after I went through my transition in school, and they told me to come play with them because they knew my story. And my brother played up there as well. He's the all-time leading scorer for Venice High.
So we're going to go back into a little family. So you got a brother.
Yeah,
so you was
brother.
the oldest, youngest,
I'm the
middle?
baby.
You're the youngest child.
Yeah, of all brothers at 6'3", 6'4".
So where did the mental toughness come from?
From my dad is military.
Thank you, Farron.
So my dad is military, and he fought in Vietnam. And my childhood coach, two of my childhood coaches, one was very militant about African American and your history, named Coach Marvin Adams, and my coach Tiny Edmund Flournoy. He was a military man like my father, so that's where I got all my grit and grime and all that stuff from them coaches right there. And Coach Sean Brandon was another coach that had to steal some things in me too.
So now we in high school, something happened, and you had to do some time.
Yeah,
right?
I went to camp, got out at 18. I wanted to go to Southwest, didn't work. Continue to play basketball just on the side, and then about 2002, 2001, I go back to Southwest. I check in. I'm through the whole semester. I get shot in both of my legs at the same time. Bullet went through my left leg, went through my right, hit my main artery. My muscle died. Only thing could move was my toes. I went through 6 months of, they said I'd never walk again. They supposed to cut my leg off. I went through like 7 surgeries, physical therapy, everything. I'm like, basketball is done now. I'm like, I'm just streets now because I still love the game. I used to watch all my childhood friends like Brandon Granville that went to USC, went to Westchester, St. Bernard. I'm watching them all on TV. Like, dang, watching all these games. I'm proud of
because you're laying your head now, right?
Yeah, I'm laying my head. I'm learning how to, because I'm going through the struggle of learning how to walk again.
So you're dealing with a couple of elements because you're dealing with a street element. Then you're dealing with an injury, and then you incarcerated all at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But you never gave up the passion for the basketball piece.
So when I get a little well in prison, I start playing ball. I start doing, but I'm like, man, you know, you sit back and you be like, what I could have been good or whatever, because I scored 50, I scored 40, I played on the top 8. So I'm like arrogant in a way, you know, but I didn't make it. So I'm like, well, basketball is basketball. You know, it's still a sport. So I go do my time in prison. I do 10 years straight. I come home. I get married within the time in prison, too. I meet my wife, Gloria. She had a son. I married her. I raised him since he was 5. My son, Xavier. So I get married in prison. I raise him. I do everything I'm supposed to. So I'm coming home like, which way to go? I don't want to introduce him to the streets because I know where that's going to take him for sure. Then I'm like, well, he's 6 feet at that time. He's a little big kid. I'm like, well, let's get him in basketball. I take him. I start training him. And my coach, Edmund Flournoy, Coach Tiny, he like seen him on things like, come on, bring him down. And then I start hooking back up with my coach that raised me because I started playing for him when I was 10. And then I just continued to start hustling and working out every day, coaching with him. And then I just started back.
So now bring us my today.
As of today, I'm a LA Harvard coach, college level. I'm a recruiting coach, an assistant coach. I coached at Bourbon Day High School last year. I got my own AAU program, travel ball team called Crenshaw Elite out the Crenshaw YMCA. I train with kids. I'm a deacon in the community at the historical Weller Street Missionary Baptist Church. That's the first thing I did when I came home, was join the church home. I do everything I say I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do the best that I can to be a man of my word. So with basketball, I came home and it opened up so many doors for me. And I was thinking, like, when I was a child, like, sitting in the cell and doing, like, what I would have been. But now I see I would have made something of myself.
I mean, it just goes to show you that God always have a plan. We may not know what the plan is. We got a plan. So my last questions for you tonight, you know, at least for me as Cali Sportsman, is that, you know, you've seen these young men up here that's part of his little program in L.A. to be able to keep them out of trouble. What is your advice to them? Because you got an AAU team, and I'm quite sure you work with kids that are challenged. So what is the advice?
My advice to them is believe in yourself first. Don't blame nobody after you get a certain age. Accept your responsibilities and grind hard. Don't point the finger at your mom, your dad, because at some point in time, you're going to know right from wrong. So if you want to be successful, work hard. Have a work ethic. If you believe in yourself, you're going to get there. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't make it. Because I was a child that was a special ed kid. I was doomed from the jump. I'm still pushing. So to all young brothers out here, don't let nobody tell you can't make it, no matter what situation it is.
Well, you heard it here first from Cali Sportsman. This segment is Chasing Hoop Dreams. I want to say thank you, man.
Thank you, sir.
It takes a lot of courage to come up here and tell your story and inspire people. And congratulations on all your accolades. So if you want to give us a call, 323-293-3375. We here just parking lot pimping and making it happen. So we're going to come up with my boy Ferron next. So stay tuned.
Giving Up. Chapter 1. Winners Never Quit.
Hey, I'm Sergeant First Class Ferron Dozier. I'm here at the military base, and I have the sickle cell trait. Now, why I got involved is I experienced what they call sickle cell trait exertion. And I was doing the Army physical fitness test, the 2-mile run, and when I got done, I collapsed. A lot of soldiers and athletes have been dying at football fields and running track, and the family members have no idea that they have the sickle cell trait gene or that it's a trigger. So my purpose is to mobilize the community so we can find out what's in your genes. How will life be if we could prevent another child from being born with sickle cell trait or disease? And if a child was born with the trait or disease, that the family members would have the education, awareness, and resources in every city that they lived in. So tune into our webinar series and find out what's the count.
What's the count? What's the count? What's the count?
All right, welcome back to Sports Collective TV. I'm your host and moderator. I'm Ferron, a.k.a. WDC. This is my segment called What's the Count? I just want to have this conversation with my guest here. You know, we talk about the youth and encouraging them and mentorship and all these different programs that we, have in the community as resources. But I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you three gentlemen personally and kind of get down to some of the things you said about taking responsibility for your own self, your own actions, right? And so just to give the context of this conversation, when we grew up, we make decisions about ourselves, right? And then if you have both parents there, you have one parent, at some point in that childhood relationship between the parents, there's going to be a natural human disconnection with our parents, regardless if both are there or one are there or whoever's there. So I want to ask you, gentlemen, what do you remember about making these decisions about yourself? Because what we don't remember is we don't remember that we tell ourselves when something happens, my dad didn't love me or whatever that thing was with our parents, and then we don't realize that we start to live like that. So what do you can remember about your past, before the trouble started, in your household?
I can say the trouble started when I was I can really remember about 4.5, 5, because I remember my dad is an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And my mom she worked at Martin Luther King Hospital.
Okay.
As a registered nurse. She worked in the operating room. So I used to remember my dad is drunk, my mom coming home from working at Killer King, dealing with dead bodies, and she going straight to the room.
Yeah.
And I'm a little kid, and my dad is drunk, and I got older brothers, but they got to do what they got to do, but I'm fending and growing up in that.
Yeah.
So it's like neglection is a form of child abuse.
Yeah.
So that part right there, and not knowing that I have a disability as a kid, that part was the hardest because as I got older, I blamed my dad, my mom trying to get help for me because she's a nurse. So I'm sitting there like, why my dad ain't doing his job? But he has a problem because I find out as I got older, he's a Vietnam vet, PTSD,
Thank you.
Agent Orange, this, that. So I got all them same traits he got. So I believe in DNA.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, what do I do? So now that I'm older, I had to sit back, relax, realize that when he was trying to tell me something correct, I should have listened.
Right.
But I didn't because I had this animosity and rebellious state towards my father, which my mom and dad are still married to this day.
Wow, that's cool.
You see what I'm saying? And I take care of both of them now and help in the household the best that I can, going through what I'm going through and trying to grow up as a man, because I'm still learning as a man.
So you understand. Now that you can look back at a 4-year-old, you didn't understand Vietnam War. You didn't understand what your dad was dealing with coming back from fighting that war. But now, as you're old enough, you can look back and say, well, no wonder he was dealing with that because of his past life experiences and going on. So did that kind of change your relationship when you was able to look and see, like, man?
My relationship changed with me and my dad when I went to prison. When I realized that all the dudes he told me, I met them in prison. All my homies, I seen them in prison. Yeah. All the same ones. All the same stuff he told me about shirt tail tucked in, no sagging, all this. I didn't understand when I was that age because I just didn't understand. Yeah. He never gave me an answer why. So now that he tells me things, I listen. I try to do the best I can to be a good son because he was going through what he was going through. I didn't understand.
Definitely.
So now I understand and try to use the things that he didn't give me to my son now. And it works, but it's a struggle. Yeah. But it works, though.
Definitely.
You know?
So, introduce yourself for me.
Marquise Thomas.
So, Marquise, hearing his version of his story, right? We all got our own version. What can you share about your version of growing up as a young kid in your household that had you want to find basketball as that love? Like, where were you?
I mean, when I was growing up, when I grew up, was my trouble. All that started was when my granny died. I was like in 9th grade.
Yeah.
Granny died. I was already I was actually transferring into high school, so I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to hang out with. So I'm all like, dang, what should I do? So I'm all like, I just ran into the coach one day in Washington. That's when he just introduced me. He was a cool coach. He even walked me to all my classes. I didn't know where to go to my classes at.
Yeah.
He just basically said, come join the team. Like, you got some talent. You pretty tall. So I just went out one day. Started playing for him. He said, I was in 9th grade playing Farsoft. In my 11th grade year, I was playing at Dorsey on varsity, so it was pretty good. So
I can relate to you because I grew up with my grandmother from age 2 to 8. So where were your parents, if you mind?
My parents, they was on the streets. My mom was on the streets. I ain't never really knew who my dad was.
Yeah.
Feel me? Yeah.
So your grandmother was it. She was raising you, and then you lost her. Then who took care of you after she passed?
My auntie.
Yeah.
My auntie from now on. Yeah.
So she took care of you. So you found basketball. Your mental toughness. Where do you think that mental toughness came from?
I was basically, I don't know. Like I said, I ain't had no dad, so I ain't had nobody to look up to. So I was just basically watching movies. My favorite movie is The Godfather. I think from Michael Corleone.
Yeah. So you like, I'm gonna be like that. I'm gonna be gangster.
Basically.
Cool deal. How about you? Introduce yourself.
My name is Darnell Seymour.
Darnell, so we've all shared our kind of experience. How can you relate to this conversation as far as growing up in your family, childhood, and those decisions you made about yourself? What was that like for you?
Yeah, I was always, like I said, the small one in my family. I didn't really eat much. I didn't know why I was supposed to eat, but I should have ate because I would have been big right now.
Yeah.
But at the age of 10, 11, went homeless. Me and my 3 brothers and my mom, just my mom.
Yeah.
So we was homeless for 4 years, and then.
How was that experience for you? I can imagine, but what was that experience like? What did that mean to you? You know.
I mean, I remember packing our bags when I was young, and then we slept on our bags for a couple nights, and then I remember we had to move. We had to move to Bakersfield, all the way to Bakersfield, and we stayed out here. So we had to move to Bakersfield because that was the only place that took 4 boys, pretty much. Because no homeless shelter took boys.
Yeah.
So.
Do you remember making any decisions about yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not worth it? What is that voice in your head that when you're doing this great work and all of a sudden this thing shows up to you man, you're not worth that, you're not good enough? Do you have those kind of what is that?
I was in high school pretty much. I started turning left. I started selling drugs. Not drugs, heavy drugs.
Yeah.
Just like weed and edibles. But And then I was just loving money. I started selling chips, juice, and then hanging with the wrong people, not game bangers or anything, but just bad kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so you found basketball.
I found basketball when I was homeless. Me and my brothers, we just go to the park and we just play basketball. And you know, we was just getting better when we was younger, and then it was fun. All we wanted was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool deal. So I mean, what's important about this conversation, like you said, from your life experience, from mine to theirs, is that you know we have to at some point be responsible for our own actions. Like I had my dad there, but there was a disconnection with my dad that I never knew until I was 40, and it was like we just wasn't connected. But it was something I made up about him that wasn't true, that he didn't love me. And so I want you guys to understand that whatever you think you're going through, that the mentorship, the people around you, we all have that version, and you are not lost. You're not by yourself. You just need to find somebody that you can connect to, open up and share those stories, because that hurt, that homeless experience that you had can help somebody younger than you that might be going through that right now, that don't even know, like lost like you were lost, like your experiences. Same with you, like having that grandmother, LL Cool J, who took care of LL, his grandmother, right? So we all have that grandmother that we lose, but at some point you got to see that you, like you said, I'm responsible for my life. I can make my own choices regardless of who was in my life before. Is now your opportunity to create your own life, your own future, and make your own ways. Oscar's in that program, man. He's a heck of a guy, man, and I'm sure that you're going to see us more around you guys as we create these events and start sharing our information and having you come on the show, man. It's very important. Before I get out of here, I'm an advocate for sickle cell trait, sickle cell disease. Any of you familiar with sickle cell trait?
I heard of it. I'm familiar with it a little bit.
What do you know a little bit about?
I know they always say it's a black thing or something like that. Yeah. So, as my mom being a nurse and growing up, I know a little bit about like health and stuff. So I know that's a lot of trait that deal with us, and that to do with anemia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they already try to I was taking iron pills because they were trying to say, you know, all that stuff.
Your iron level was low.
Yeah. So I kind of know a little bit. I'm kind of familiar, but I know if I just stay working out.
Yeah. So to disappear that one that you mentioned, so for the listeners, is not just a black disease. However, we're number one because it fights malaria in Africa. So that's why they say it's dominantly African American gene. However, the Hispanic community is number two because they also have that gene in their bloodline. It fights malaria. So if your ancestors lived in parts of the country where malaria is present, you can't go by color anymore. And plus, we're all blended and mixed. So a lot of us don't know where our ancestors are from. If you guys plan on playing basketball in college, as I mentioned at the event, you have to have a sickle cell trait test done to play NCAA sports. So, very important conversation. I can give you some information later on. But have you heard of sickle cell disease? Anybody?
I mean, I heard of it, but I don't really know like what it is.
Yeah, they talk about it in biology class. You probably have it in biology. They talk about the cells in biology. But there's a genetic conversation, but also for athletes, like I said, to play sports now, because athletes have collapsed and died playing sports in colleges, so they don't want to be sued anymore. So they want everybody to take a test, no matter what sport, no matter what your background is. And if you don't take that test, then you have to sign a waiver. If something happens, they're not liable. So again, this is my segment. This is What's the Count. I'm gonna take my break. You guys have anything you wanna share?
Shout out to Young in LA.
How about you?
Shout out to LA Harbor College, Vervin Day, my wife, my son, mom's pops, and all the people that I came along the way that inspired me to change my ways. And one guy I want to give a shout out to that gave me a platform. His name is, rest in peace, Big James Miller. This was a very strong brother. Thank you.
And before I go, LABC, man.
That's
Americas, man.
That's I appreciate.
God. Shout out to Americas for allowing me to partner with him and get these interviews and get these play-by-play done. What can you say about the LABC league, man?
I love that league because that league, he gave me a shot. He gave me a real shot, and he a down-to-earth brother. And I went to the league. I played on a free agent team, and I was balling.
Yeah.
Talking about putting up 25. Old man, I was about 35, 36 at that time. Yeah, 35 and a half, 36. And Inglewood Fellas coach Joe Reyes picked me up, man. Thanks, Joe. And
you played with them?
Yeah.
They go to Rosarita, so you
I played in Rosarita.
for the purses?
Yeah, I played in Rosarita.
For the money bags?
Yeah, I played for the money bag before, twice.
Yeah.
We lost in the semifinals twice, once to the Baker boys twice.
Ah.
You know what I mean? But I played a lot with him, and I appreciate the platform that he gave me because basketball gave me another platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gave me a second chance in life, and that was one of the teams that's very popular in L.A. right now. Joe give a lot of people a platform, and I appreciate that. And the LABC League is like the number one league in L.A.
For sure.
You know, outside the Drew League and the JBL and the VBL, those are the top leagues in L.A. And it's a privilege to play in that league because, you know, it opened up doors for me. You know,
he got guys going to China, winning championships over in China right now. I mean,
he got
balling.
China. He got other avenues. He got a lot of avenues for that league, and you wouldn't know that because. You got to be in that. You got to be in that circle, and then it opened up doors for me. And I played with my guy DJ and Ramon on their team. I already know DJ from playing at the 35 older Ludus Park League.
Yeah.
So we've been playing on 2-3 for different teams together. So give a shout out to the Next Level team too as well, my guys.
So y'all planning on balling, right? There are these other leagues out here.
Where you go to school at, man? I'm a Harvard College coach. You trying to hoop, man? What's up with them grades?
I go to school.
Where you go?
I go to school at LA Trade Tech. I want to take up a trading AC and ventilation. So,
yeah, Trade Tech didn't do good last year.
How about you? Where you attend school at?
I just signed up for El Camino College 2 days ago.
All right.
Good job.
All right.
I'm going to be an EMT, so I'm going to take that class for 2 months.
Field, huh?
Yeah,
and I'm at Harbor too as well, and I already finished a semester of kinesiology. That's my major, and I'm going on next year. Should have my AA by 2020, 2019. So just keep me in your prayers with that. And I'm coaching there as well as the recruiting coach and assistant coach. So if you're trying to come hoop at LA Harbor, it's a good school, good kinesiology program. They give second chances. They willing to help the community and all that.
Boom.
So come check out LA Harbor College.
And make sure if you got any 7th, 8th graders, hit us up. True Elite Performance. We got a platform for you to get your kids into high school. And so Cali Sportsman takes care of that program. So make sure you follow us on Instagram at Sports Collective Media. And we're going to take a quick break. We got the alert segment coming up next, and then we're going to get out of here. Shout us out. What's the count? Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold, man.
I hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn, are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I didn't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man.
There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
Welcome back to Sports Collective TV. You're tuned into the NBA Alert with Big Al. I'd like to give a shout out to Farhan for that great interview earlier and the rest of the Sports Collective TV crew. We got our guests up here ready to play the NBA Alert. So I'm going to kick it off, guys, with the first thing that's been happening around the league for a while now. We see all these great players come together and try to play on the same teams, it seems like it's more of a pickup playground thing, like oh man, I'm gonna call you, you come on my team, stuff like that. So more and more of these super teams are being created, like a Golden State Warriors, Cleveland Cavaliers, Houston's doing their thing. You know, the Spurs will be trying to do their thing at some point as well. Do you guys think super teams are good for the NBA, for you as a viewer? Oh.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Why is that?
Because you got to look at it like this. All them guys that's playing ball came through an AAU system.
Well, yeah,
so
definitely.
If you came through an AAU system, you played with basically the best players in your city or your state.
Right.
So now that we adults and I'm putting all this hard work in to get to just play, I want to win a championship because I blood and sweat so much. So I want to play with the guys that's on the same page that I'm on.
Because I already put so much work just to get in
there,
the league.
To get there.
Yeah.
So if we build a super team, we put this team together, we build this chemistry. Yes, that's what it's about, winning rings in that level. Now, that's the only thing I can say, at that level.
Right. So from a player's perspective, absolutely, you want to have the best squad around you guys. But from a fan's perspective, you watching the league, when you see Orlando play Atlanta, does that not make you kind of shrivel up inside and be like, nah, I'm not going to watch that?
I mean, it do, because I already know who's going to win. You know, for me, I'm not going to waste my time on someone when I already know the outcome.
That's right. So would you like to see more of the talent get spread out and we have more of these good players spread out and good separate teams? You have a little bit more competitive games going on, or do you want it to be top four?
I want to see the talent everywhere, because you feel me, every team should, you know, at least have a taste of what the NBA Finals feel like. You feel me? You ain't got to win it, but you know you should be able to play in it. So I want to see the talent everywhere. I don't really care for super teams like that, because super teams, they just go win. You can't beat them, as we see with the Golden State Warriors. You can't beat them right now.
There's not much to do there. Oh yeah, okay.
I like the teams. They're just getting better and better. And shoot, why they can't pick who they want? Like, why they can't? You know?
I mean, it's a free country. You can do what you want in that regard. Now, what if I were to tell you the Warriors are looking at signing Anthony Davis and bringing them to their team too?
Do I ring the bell on that?
Yeah, ring the bell. That's definitely an alarm on that one.
AD, that'll probably be a good. I like AD, so I wouldn't care if AD go there. You feel me? They could get rid of what's what they got right now?
Zaza Pachulia or JaVale McGee or something. Cut McGee.
McGee, you gone, man.
What about the Celtics? Do you like those guys? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I like. I say with AD. I think my thing is, with these players coming to these teams, these super teams, you have to understand as a coach what position they're going to play. Because it might work, it might not work. But if, like KD, we give a prime example.
Right.
KD know how to play off the ball.
Yeah.
So that's why they're pretty good. Now, if he was ball dominant like that, and he couldn't, and he wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't work. But like give you a prime example, Houston. Chris Paul. We was all wondering if it's going to work because he can't play off the ball. He ain't coming off no screens. He ain't coming off no
he's bringing it up.
Bringing it up, but it worked. But after the end, it didn't work because it came because of the isolation ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, it depends on how the coach flips it and the players buying in. That's my opinion on all the super teams. It's all about who's buying in.
Right, which is my one knock against the Warriors is them going from playing that perfect system basketball and them sharing the ball to, not that they're definitely better with KD, but that does take away a little bit of the ball movement and will revert back to iso ball a lot with the ball in his hands, you know, trying to create a lot of stuff. So I'm wondering if Anthony Davis were to go there, if it would better the system or create more ISO situations.
It's go better.
It's go better than
yeah, we all in the house. We all in the house. First of all, KD was on the ISO because you got to understand that was poor management. That's poor management because in the NBA, it's managing your time. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's not like you mentioned AAU, then you graduate from AAU. AAU is kind of mixtape. Then you go into college, then it's really more like a fundamental. Then when you get to the NBA, it's managing.
It's all about time management right there.
And also about the super teams, I feel like the players have a lot more power now when they decide where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we started to see this with the free agency happen in the 90s when they started opening it up. But now players like LeBron, AD are saying right now, if you don't move me where I want to get moved, I'm going to leave and go where I want to go.
Yeah, so it boils down to one thing, and if y'all all hoopers, no matter if you at the gym, at the park, it's all about chemistry.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't have chemistry,
you're going to get...
Hold on. Why y'all talking about this when the Lakers did it back in 03, 04 when they went and got the glove and Karl Malone to try to build some super team, and Detroit Pistons beat them with the glove, with Karl Malone, with Kobe and Shaq.
All right.
So that started long
But they had
time
chemistry.
ago.
But see, the equation changed. Remember now when they used to build super teams back in the day, they go get veteran players, and that'd be your backup. Now they building super teams with great players
at their number one or number two options. Yeah.
Not only that, but back to what you're saying, Detroit's chemistry was on point. And even then, like later on in the year, Karl Malone started getting hurt, and by then we just didn't have the role players.
But y'all went and got him anyway. LA.
But he was washed up at that time.
He was like 38.
No disrespect to Karl Malone.
What's definitely happening is it is definitely becoming a players' league in the NBA. Players doing what they want. But that was it for this Sports Collective TV show. Hit us up at 323-293-3375. Shout out to everybody watching at home. Catch us next Monday at 5 p.m.
Sports Collective TV.
Sports Collective TV.